What's good YouTube, and welcome to the house. Not too long ago, I told you guys to pick up higher end Pot of Desires or any copies you really wanted, because one day again, there would probably be a metagame that would be heavily playing Pot of Desires, and we're already here between Virtual World and Zodiac. The argument now isn't whether Pot of Desires is a neg 9, it's rather, should you be playing 2 or 3 Pot of Desires? I like playing 2, I don't like drawing into Pot of Desires off Pot of Desires. Well, 3 is mathematically correct, you should never be playing less, you should always want to see your draw card immediately. While that bickering is going on, one fact is true, this card is going up for multiple versions, and I would still consider getting your lower end version sooner than later, even though we have multiple structure deck reprints that are recent in history, and we also have Toon Chaos for the rare, and a lower end ultra rare from the Megatons that is at a pretty affordable price. I think the lower end versions, as people grab playsets for themselves, for extra decks even to test with / for their friends, you will see this start to go off the market a bit for even the lower end versions. Right now, the highest end versions are what's going on though. Pot of Desires, just about a month ago, I think it was towards the higher 60s, if not like right at 70, and you see the market price from sales now at 88, and the light plays now line up even in the 90s with near $100 for the ulti. And there was a super interesting conversation actually between the ultimate rare and collector rares, where collector rares now have not become as desirable because of the fallout from unlimited Toon Chaos, and now you have 15 more crammed in to every single side set like Genesis Impact if they're going to continue that formula. That's a lot of collector rares, so Konami kind of wrecking the market on collector rare there a bit, and we see this is actually up, quote unquote. The market price is 61, and then you get 6.9 nice for the unlims. The first ed's still sitting a little above the ultimate rares, which isn't the most shocking thing. It started out higher and it's been coming down slowly. It's at $105, so Ultimate is playing catch up. I do think this is the nicest version of Pot of Desires to have overall, but there is a rival when you think about it in the first edition secret rare from the Dark Illusions. Now this one has been bought out time and time again, bought out at $18, bought out at $20, and now it's sitting at $22, and each time it spiked to $35, $36, around that range where people would spend on it. That's why its market price is at $25, but it's been doing nothing besides going down again. This secret rare, unlike other secrets that are getting grabbed right now, like Rescue Rabbit for past formats or older secrets, it's a little too new in history, and so many people played it within a metagame that it just has a problem trying to climb and get to that $30 mark and stick there even. But at 23, 25, it's so hard to actually get a playset of this at the lower ranges, and we're actually on the second page. So it starts at 22 here again, by the way, right now. But we see when playsets go, well, here's 2, here's 1, there's 1 more. You don't even have 2 playsets of first editions on that front page, is why I'm on the second. And then when we're looking, well, here's the third playset, just a couple of playsets, and it's back towards 30, like 5 people shopping playsets. So I do think this is likely to go up again with the other nicer versions going up. Well, I could buy 3 first edition original instead of 1 collector rare or 1 ultimate rare. People will start eyeing this version of the card too. Next up on what's interesting for me today is the Charmer structure deck actually fallouts from having RNG in the set. If you didn't know, this structure will only have 1 of 4 variant cards in each structure and 1 of 5 tokens, yet the prices are very cheap for what they are. Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily actually led with their prices on the site, and I haven't really done a market watch since they did that. And you can see here that versus Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily's prices, some tokens are more expensive, others are cheaper, and then you have the ultra variants of the Charmers looking very nice as well. See, they have some of them cheaper, like I said, and they have free shipping on singles that are $25 and up for your order in the USA, and then you have the other tokens that are actually a little more expensive than other people are now pricing. So people are trying to decide which tokens are up, which are down, what preference there is. I just don't think there's the demand versus the OCG, the cult following they have there for Charmers here in the TCG, although we do see the Starlights really hold their own in prices, so we know money does move that way. En masse, the structure decks are so highly released, even without people tearing it open for evenly matched and that little slip up. I think that these tokens are going to stay cheap. This is the early competition. This is the early listings. I don't think they're underestimating it. I just don't think for a mass release product instead of a very, very shorted thing within core sets that these are going to perform as people originally expected. So yeah, out the gate, the competition is fierce. You can use code WATSGOOD5, of course, over at Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily for 5% off your order, and to support the channel, they still have gold series and other things up so that you can get to that $25, but obviously take the deals that are best for you. Shop TCG Player, use that link if you're going after the cheaper tokens and other pieces, kind of get it together. But if you want to put one cart together, this is a pretty easy place. Also, Super Raigeki is kind of interesting in price early on, considering we have the Prismatic Secret Rare that looks really good. So I think this will continue to go down or stay around there, because when you have that other Raigeki in competition in recent history still being oh so cheap from the Gold Sark Megatins as competition for it, it's around the same price, if not cheaper than the current listings, and it's a nicer version. So don't get like, oh, Super Raigeki, it's like the LOB. Well, it's gonna have the newer foiling, and you might as well get a step up, in my opinion. Photon Strike Bouncer's getting a bit of a hype because of Virtual World as a potential tech card. Fits into their Xyz overlay slots, and the secret rare is going up a little bit. Getting that one negate on a field can be important in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, but I feel like this is more people running with certain techs, and I'll get into that even further here on Market Watch. M7 skyrocketing for the DT. The Hidden Arsenal actually went up first, and you have gold versions and then Dual Saga versions being very, very cheap and not really running off the market, but people are scrambling for another tech card for that deck as well. Gotham's, there's a hand loop version for Virtual World that you can play that people are excited to tech, and Gotham's is up for that as well, Ultimates and Secrets, while the Ultras are running out of copies completely on the market too. You use Beast of the Pharaoh in the hand loop, as I understand. Whenever you're synchroing, he just comes back, becomes pretty easy tribute fodder as well. I actually played against a version of the deck with this card, and I really like this card for combos also, unironically. And it has 3 printing, so it's not like the thing that's going to disappear fastest from under your feet. But yeah, just all these different niche versions of Virtual World among the hype has people scrambling. I think you should look at the more competitive builds, kind of consider. But yeah, there are futures outside of it being VFD, Turbo, and the ability to play in certain ways. And I guess people want those pieces to protect the money that they're spending on the Virtual World cards right now, so they get the different versions and the different plays that they could have in the future just in case. Now, this is what I'm talking about. One of my friends showed me this Black and White Wave, and they were like, yeah, don't you think this is pretty hype? You should maybe show this off. If there is a face-up Xyz monster on the field with a synchro material as an Xyz material, notice that's either player, so you could play this in or against Virtual World. You target a card on the field, you banish that target, so targeting banish removal, and if you do, draw 1 card. Oh my gosh, it's a quick play, takes care of things. You can play it in, you can play it against, and I'm like, if you're really playing a card that you were thinking of teching against Virtual World, why don't you just want to like stop their calamities outright? If you're not playing Droplet, you go for Xyz Encore for the cheaper thing. But this is still an interesting card. It's a cool thing that if you're thinking with just player brain versus mark, oh my gosh, they're so cheap, this card does what in and against, it's fringe stuff like this that people see that they can do it, and they run with their wallet before they think with actual playtesting and deck stuff. And I think this would be another one of those cards where yeah, that's pretty cool, but is it worth money? Not necessarily. So kind of think, like, I know player brain can get ahead of your market brain, play test with stuff, see how it goes off, see how the alternate options are. Don't just run with your wallet because something's cheap and it seems poggers. Yes, it only has 1 printing out of Judgment of Light. No, I don't think it's going to take out the meta either in or against it when you have options that could just completely stop calamities instead of letting calamities chain to it. Skullmeister has been getting teched a lot more this format. Kaiju Kev actually told me at his locals it's been taking over, and then I saw Robbie post today about it being one of the LCS hot techs. Skullmeister for the STBL version is back up relatively well. It's been here for a long time. Starstrike Blast just has that holding as the highest rarity, and you still have, I believe, a common and a super. Yeah, common from a structure deck, super high in quantity, but you maybe should be getting your playset. That's a thing I've said a long time about this card. When it bottomed out before, just have your playset. Don't get caught without this. I do like multiple things about the option of Skullmeister versus DD Crow, such as if a card is banished from the graveyard and has a hard once per turn clause, Skullmeister is going to take care of it because you just negate the effect. You don't even negate the activation. So like anything with a once per turn clause, well, they can't end up getting another to the graveyard and then activating it. It's used its once per turn with Skullmeister. So there are cute things about this definitely in the future of the format. Gold Series settling out a little. Blue Eyes White Dragon trying to stick around 24. Imperm down towards 20. It was fluttering between 22, 24, 22, 24, and now all the way down to 20 as mass listers have their quantities. Competition is ramping up. Dark Magician's the biggest winner from the set. It's done nothing but gone up in stick, where Blue Eyes has had its fluctuations up and then back down. It really feels like both percentage-wise and craziness, Dark Magician's a pretty big winner here. Although, true percentage-wise, Blue Eyes is the winner. Dark Magician just sticking to it. And then the Ash Blossoms really also are staying at their price they've been at since pre-sales. People aren't too apt to let this go, and the other versions of this aren't going down, so I think this will just continue to go up with the other versions. Rest of the set, very affordable, with pieces like Apollosa going for more in the OCG. The Eldritch, I've seen the sales in the OCG. It's kind of crazy. And then Red Eyes was not shorted at all in the USA, where you had the half prints on Dark Magician and Blue Eyes. So that's why this Red Eyes just isn't as hype. Oh, it's not as crazy. This hasn't had a printing in a decade. Well, yeah, I'd still suggest it for long term, in my opinion, but it's not just wiping off the market because there's a lot more of it to go around. Everything else falling out pretty beautifully. If you're looking for Gold Series, now's kind of the time to get it. And also, people want to know what double sleeving things that I think about when it comes to sleeves. KMC has, if you're doing the outside kind of blank color sleeve, like just a regular white or yellow or whatever sleeve, these fit your card very tight and then fit inside the standard size, or not standard, the mini size sleeve that are Yu-Gi-Oh! So I do like the mini perfect fits. That's what they're meant to do. They're meant to like hug your card. Or you can go with something like Dragon's Shield standard size outside of your sleeve. Just make sure it's tight enough that it can't wiggle around and become a marked card in Konami's eyes at a tournament. But I do like either Dragon's Shield for outside, protecting your finer art sleeves like this, or something like KMC to go on the inside of your sleeves if you're not as concerned of protecting that other outside sleeve. Very exciting that we have double sleeving in Yu-Gi-Oh! Protecting the higher end cards people might be playing, and making it feel a lot more safe to be able to invest in them and also get to play in. That being said, thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We've actually been really climbing up in subs again all of a sudden. I appreciate the love. Thank you so much. And like the video if you enjoyed the conversation, and let me know what you think about stuff like the Charmer structure deck and the RNG there. Will it fail? Kind of like the Dual Devastator stuff. It's this guaranteed thing, and then there's just not enough hype, even though the things look cool that are in there. Or will it be long-term stonks and we're just kind of resident sleepering on it? Let me know what you think about stuff like this, guys.